How's it going, class? It's Justin. Hope everyone's doing well during these weird times. And today I'm here with my video presentation. I'm going to be talking about the Appr. Now, does anybody know what Appr stands for off the top of their head? It's okay, I didn't know what it meant either before I started. So what is the Appr? It's going to mess me up this entire time. It is the annual professional performance review. It is a process where both teachers and principals are evaluated by New York State standards. Now, before I started, I thought it was just teachers. I didn't even think about the principals having to be reviewed and graded and all that. I thought that was pretty interesting. So it's a mix of classroom observation as well as student performance, like the grades on like the standardized tests. And obviously the observation is like people, like the bottom bullet point, like the trained professionals handpicked by the district. They're coming in and watching the teacher. And then they use a scale. It's the ineffective, developing, effective, and highly effective. And we'll get into more of that in a couple slides. And then after the scale, after everything's added up, they are given an overall effectiveness rating, and that this is a yearly process. So that's why it's the annual professional performance review. So what is the goal of the Appr? It is basically to improve the quality of instruction, student performance, and the student readiness for higher education in the real world. So pretty much it is making sure the teachers are doing the right thing, making sure that they're doing a good job teaching the students what they need to know to get good grades and to be ready to tackle life, like in further education, such as college and careers. And then, so the last bullet I really liked. That really, I feel like, summed up the goal. So the purpose of the evaluation system is to ensure that there is an effective teacher in every classroom and an effective leader in every school. I really like that. It really just sums everything up. Like, it's basically just to make sure the teachers are getting feedback on what they need to work on, and it's basically getting the teachers to their highest potential so they can get these students where they need to be. So a brief history of the Appr. Teachers and principals have always been evaluated to certain standards in the district. It's constantly being altered like every year. You can see that 2015 is bolded. It's not a mistake. I felt it was kind of important because in 2015, 2016, they made a change that introduced the ineffective, developing, effective, and highly effective scale, which is how it is today. And so I found this, or I didn't find it, it was on the website, and I kind of wanted to just go through it. So the red paragraph, I think that's just kind of like introducing the section. So it's like, it says standard 3, so it's like section 3 probably. I don't really feel like reading all that. I'm sure if you want to pause the video, you can be my guest and read that. And then the bold print right under that's saying teachers use research-based practices and evidence of student learning to provide developmentally appropriate and standards-driven instruction that motivates and engages students in learning. So that's pretty much what these, it says right under that actually is the indicators, and that's what it is, like the italics right here. So it says align instruction to standards, and then engages students. Like there's more than this. I just didn't want to go through the whole entire thing. I just wanted one slide. So you can see that there's the ineffective, the developing, effective, and highly effective. So pretty much if you're in this range, the effective and highly effective, you'll be good. And then if you're in the ineffective and developing range, that's when you need to work on stuff. So I'm just gonna read through these. I just want to see like what, yeah. So the aligns instructions to the standards. So that's pretty much making sure what you're teaching aligns with the standards for the state. So it's like the teacher does not implement learning experiences that are aligned with this learning standards. Students are unaware of the learning objectives. Just right off the bat, that's not where you want to be as a teacher. If the students have no idea what they want to learn and the teacher is just going off doing their own thing, it looks like, don't want to be there. And highly effective. The teacher implements all learning experiences that are aligned with learning standards. Students are aware of the learning objectives and can clearly convey/demonstrate how they relate to the learning experiences. Obviously, it's a lot more like specific. It's the teacher is implementing all instead of none. The students are aware, they're unaware. And yeah, so just a thought that I had on this as I was doing this presentation was, I'm not too sure if I'm like a big fan of this setup, just because there's no like clear divide between like ineffective and developing and like developing and effective, for example. So I feel like it might just be based on whoever is like grading you at the time, if that makes sense. Like there could be something that's like you can't decide if it's like either developing or effective. So it's either going to be like one or the other. So if the person's having like a bad day, they might just be like, oh, let's just do developing. Or if they're feeling nice that day, they can do effective. I just feel like there's no concrete line to like, because like how are you supposed to tell like implement most of the learning experiences versus all? I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of a flaw. So then, kind of mention this a little bit. What happens if you score poorly in the ineffective and developing range? So if you're not doing anything right, and if you're like partially doing something right, then what's going to happen to you? Yes, see, scoring poorly is in the bottom two. So if the teachers score poorly, they receive a teacher improvement plan or a TIP. And the principals, if they perform poorly, they receive a principal improvement plan. And pretty much they are just to give feedback for areas for improvement and basically giving a timeline and how they or when they should be achieving such improvements. I mean, that seems, when you see that, it's like it seems a lot less harmless, because it's basically, if you don't score well, they're literally telling you like what you need to work on, which, I mean, I feel like that seems fair. And then if you repeatedly get the ineffective and developing scores, you could be led to a hearing process and even potential termination, which is a little bit scary. But we don't want teachers that are like incapable and just not good teachers in the classroom for years on years. So that makes sense. And then, a little interesting, the developing and ineffective scores may be appealed. Just like if they felt that they were wrongly given that grade, then they can appeal it, which actually kind of goes back to the point that I was saying, that like there's no clear divide, right? Like if it's super close and they get like the lower part, they might think that they got the higher, I don't know, but. So there's some miscellaneous facts that I throw in here. Experience is not taken into consideration during the performance review process. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the discussion part. District administrators must also be evaluated on district procedures. The law requires the superintendent to also be evaluated annually, likely by the Board of Education. And the teacher and principal scores from one district likely do not compare to those of another district. So it just shows how much variance there is between, like, I don't know, like one high school versus another. And even the second point right down here, it's tough to even compare it from one year to another in the same district. That's just how much stuff gets changed. All right. So I threw a couple discussion questions in here. Is the current scale, the ineffective, developing, effective and highly effective scale effective or not? So that kind of goes back to the point where I've said multiple times where, like, is this like a good way to grade people in their jobs? Like, yeah, I pretty much went in depth on that. Like, it's this line is so thin. Like, you can't. There's no way you can actually tell, like, what the most versus all, or then some versus most. Like where's the differential between that? I don't know. But then there's like the part where, like, there's the other side of the coin where you could say that it's meant to, like, get them improved. Like, it's supposed to get them, like, better at their job, if that makes sense. So, like, if they score lower, then it's basically just a designed system so they can work on making themselves better at certain aspects that they struggled at before. So I don't know. I think there's an argument for both sides. And then this one down here was interesting. Do you believe that the experience should be considered when given the effectiveness rating at the end of the year? And I kind of clarified, should experienced teachers be graded more harshly than newer teachers? Personally, I don't know, because the only real way for, like, newer teachers to learn is to make mistakes and score poorly so they know how to grow. But at the same time, it's literally their first year, and it's like on the job training pretty much. And I don't know if that's fair versus a teacher who's been teaching for like 30 years versus the first year to be graded on the same scale. I don't know. Again, there's a case you could be made for both. Kind of interested to hear what you guys have to say on Thursday. But yeah, that's all I got. I had a split topic this week, so my video is a little bit shorter than probably expected. Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's hanging in there, getting their schoolwork done on time. Everyone's staying safe, wearing your masks out in public. That's important. And yeah, thank you for watching.